With reaction to that and what we expect coming out tomorrow or very soon, Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Lindsey Graham. Senator, good to see you. First on the hiring, wasn't he fired for lying and leaking?
Well, I told you before that compare the coverage CNN gave the Mueller report to the Horowitz report. So if you have any doubt as to where these folks are coming from, and I've got some good friends at CNN who try to be good journalists, but here's what happened, Sean. CNN has just hired the alleged architect of a criminal conspiracy against the Trump campaign. So how much time and attention do you think they're going to give the Horowitz report when they hired the guy that Horowitz is investigating?
Let me ask you about, so we have and we're expecting different aspects of this to roll out. One, we reported on this, as John said, a couple of weeks ago. First will be the Comey report. I expect it to be around 65 pages. Some of my sources are suggesting it will be pretty devastating, and it will say that he was not candid with the FBI. Lack of candor, that's lying. That would be what Manafort, Papadopoulos, Flynn, and Conner got in trouble for and actually got charged with, which Andy McCabe may face. And I have a problem if we don't apply our laws equally. Then the next will be the FISA abuse issue. That was the bulk of information. There was a Grassley-Graham memo that said the bulk of information in those applications was Hillary's bought and paid for Russian lies. My question to you is, how devastating? You said you believe this will be devastating. Walk us through what you think is going to happen.
Yeah, I think it. Well, what I think you're going to see is basically an attempt to defraud the FISA court, that the dossier is not verified to this day. Without the Steele dossier, there would be no warrant issued against Carter Page. I think you're going to find pretty early on there was no real belief that Papadopoulos was actually working with the Russians and had no real contact with the president. But I want to repeat what I said earlier on in the interview. CNN has just hired the person Horowitz is investigating for committing crimes against the Trump campaign. CNN has just hired the person Horowitz is investigating. How seriously do you think they're going to take the Horowitz investigation, which is really a shame?
Let me run through a series of quick questions to you. If I committed premeditated fraud on a court, do you think I'd be indicted?
If you're an FBI agent and you gave the court a document you had not verified and you said it was verified, you'd be in real trouble. You might be indicted. But the day of reckoning is coming to the DOJ and FBI leadership who sought the warrant against Carter Page and opened up the counterintelligence investigation.
But we now know the bulk of information was unverifiable. And when the FBI finally got around to building a spreadsheet,
this day,
it was, they even said 90 to 100% false.
To this day, it's unverified. And the counterintelligence investigation, there's no real credible evidence I've seen to suggest that Papadopoulos actually was working with the Russians. That came from our own people that told him about the Clinton emails. The bottom line is, who briefed President Obama, if anybody, about the counterintelligence investigation against the Trump campaign? And finally, why did they not tell the Trump campaign that they had concerns about people working for him tied to Russia? That's what you're supposed to do in a counterintelligence investigation. That's what they did with Dianne Feinstein.
Would you agree with Andy McCarthy that any counterintelligence investigation has to have a president behind it? And Strzok and Page referred to the White House wanting to know every detail. Does that mean that Barack Obama, the president at the time, should be asked what he knew and when he knew it about all this?
I can't imagine an investigation of the Republican nominee for president. Counterintelligence investigation of his campaign was not approved at the highest level. I cannot imagine it happening without somebody in the White House knowing about it. And the question for me is, who told Obama? And when you find out who that person is, you begin to put the puzzle together.
Do you think he needs to be asked those questions, sir, under oath?
Absolutely. If there's, I'm going to talk to McCabe, Comey, all of them, Brennan, Clapper. Did you ever inform President Obama about the counterintelligence investigation? What did you tell him? When did you tell him? Yes, and I'd like to know what President Obama thought about the investigation. Why did not somebody tell Trump? The whole point of a counterintelligence investigation is to protect people.
All right, Senator Graham, good to see you.